close. Oh, we're live. Hey, folks, thanks for tuning in to the BAMF podcast. I'm your host, Mike Lafferty, and here is our contractually obligated intro music. And that assures you, ladies and gentlemen, this is a high quality, high production values podcast. Only the finest, ethically sourced, tariff-free geeky conversations produced stateside for your podcast listening pleasure. And
we are not passing any of our excess bills along to the consumer.
We're keeping the prices low here at the BAMF podcast. Joining us tonight is Chuck Rice. Chuck, how are you doing this evening, sir?
Doing great. None of this podcast is from China except for all of the hardware that it's being broadcast on.
That is probably true, yeah. And I suspect every piece of clothing we're wearing was also made in China.
Other than that, it's artisanal and locally sourced.
Artisanal, bespoke, locally sourced, ethically farm to table.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Jacob, also co-hosting tonight. How are you doing, Jacob?
Demure.
Thoughtful and demure.
And thoughtful.
Are you mindful? Are you
mindful? Skibbity.
Oh. You know, there's a movie deal for that. You know that?
Oh, that's just disgusting. Speaking of movies,
we're here to talk about holiday movies. And holidays for this show can encompass anything from Thanksgiving to Christmas, basically. We'll throw in New Year's too, but I can't think of a New Year's movie right now off the top.
Oh, I'm sure they're out there.
Oh, and Casey Stevens is joining us. Oh, and how you doing?
Once again, 5 minutes late, $2 short.
No, that's fine. Happy holiday movie talk podcast, sir.
For those who observe.
For those who observe. So, here to talk about, the Charlie Brown Diwali special, the Charlie Brown Sam Hain Festivus, whatever are those specials you might have enjoyed as a kid. Those are the holidays we're talking about. Your favorite winter celebration, solstice. And since you're here, what is your favorite holiday movie or least favorite holiday movie?
Right now, my favorite holiday movie by a stretch is Violent Night with David Harbour.
Yes. Yes.
And I kind of can't say why without it being a spoiler. So anyone who's seen it knows why. And anyone who hasn't seen it should watch it. I will note that it is not a horror movie, but there is a reason it's called Violent Night, and there is violence. So if you've got 5-year-olds, when I was 5, I'd have loved this movie, but parents, watch it before you show it to your little kids. By the time they're watching PG-13 films, it should be fine, right? No one is fed through a wood chipper nose first with a camera close-up, right? It's not Evil Dead. Mm-hmm. But it's awesome. They're working on a sequel as we speak. It's my favorite David Harbour movie. It's my favorite holiday movie. It's my favorite Santa Claus movie. It's one of the very few movies from the past 5 years I own. So, and it is a great gaming inspiration movie. So I also heartily recommend it from that point of view.
Yeah, they're also working on a sequel.
Yeah, absolutely. Working on a sequel right now, where I desperately hope we get to see Mrs. Claus.
They're talking about, what's her name? You know, the one who's in all those movies? The blonde lady from South Africa?
Scarlett Johansson?
No.
No. Michelle.
Theron.
Charlize Theron, yeah. The woman I actively have to remove from my mind. Because if I think about her too much, I can't get anything done because she's so beautiful. I keep forgetting how much I like Charlize Theron until I see a movie that she's in. I watched the one where she's an immortal, and I was like, damn, I forgot how gorgeous she is.
And
she's amazing in this, and she's a fantastic actor. She's so good.
Have you ever seen her in young adult?
I have not.
Oh, that's a hard movie to watch. I mean, it's well made, but oh god, it was. She plays a young adult writer, and she's in Minneapolis. She's living the big city life, and it's kind of like the horrible mirror image of a Hallmark movie. She goes back to her small town for a high school reunion, and Patton Oswalt is in there because he's in everything these days. And she just gets more and more depressed in the small town, and hooks up with Patton almost out of pity, but it seems like he pities her more than she pities him, and she was already pitying him a lot. And
so you want us all to feel terrible is what I'm gathering from this.
It's a really great feel-bad movie.
Okay.
I don't like to feel bad. I feel bad plenty on my own. I come with built-in feel-bad generators. So I am perfectly happy to acknowledge that this may be a very well-done, well-shot cinematic masterpiece, but I don't need it. I will instead go watch her behead people with an awesome axe in the Netflix Immortals movie. That is significantly more my speed. The Hebrew Hammer. Not only is that, you know what? I don't know that's actually a holiday movie.
Well, I would disagree because the plot concerns a Jewish crime fighter known as the Hebrew Hammer, who must save Hanukkah from the evil son of Santa.
Okay, if it takes place at the time, yes, then it
wants
counts.
to destroy Hanukkah and Kwanzaa and make everyone celebrate Christmas.
In any case, it is a funny and, in my opinion, well-made movie.
Some of Andy Dick's best work. I don't say that lightly because there have been at least 2 or 3 pictures he's in. So yeah, this is okay. This is a 2 or 3 drink movie, and by that I mean you watch this after you finish the second or third drink for optimal enjoyment. But this might be my most gameable of all the holiday movies that I like. I'm a huge fan of. Oh God, my cognitive decline is happening in real time, folks. It's just like the president. It's a Wonderful Life. I love that movie, but I can't imagine gaming it. Although, I mean, there's a whole time loop thing.
Oh yeah, no, A Wonderful Life is extremely gameable. There are lots of ways you could do that, ranging from, if you ever accidentally do a TPK, you then let the players see what the universe happens without them, and then some angelic being comes back and says, okay, now you know how important it is you don't all die here, so we're going to, having given you this preview of how things would have gone if you'd used your original plan, none of that actually happened, and now we will start over and you get to do it.
It almost sounds like you're speaking from experience.
I once played in a game. Yeah, I mean, this was in the late 80s, and we had a weird combination of people that were in college and people who were college age but not in college and people who were just out of college. And our schedules were a mess, and we were frequently getting together at 3 a.m. to hang out with no plan. And if there didn't happen to be a combination of people that already had a game running, we would start a new one, and a lot of them got run once. And one of them was the game master told us all to make characters. He went back and took a nap while we did that, and then he came out, had us describe all of our characters in loving detail, and then he says, okay, you're all dead. And then after we took a moment to throw Dorito bags at him because we thought that was just the whole campaign, he actually had us start with, you've died, that was a mistake, now you need to go back and fix it.
Well, that's kind of cool.
But I mean, also, Violent Night is just, that's a great image for what Violent Night is like.
Such a good movie.
If either of you who aren't saying it's great haven't seen it, go watch it.
Is that David Harbour?
Yes, that is David Harbour.
David Harbour as Santa Claus.
Okay.
He's an old.
I'm going to have to watch the movie.
I'm going to start giving spoilers if I don't mean to. I will say, you know how in some movies, let's say Conan the Barbarian, there's a scene where you have the titular hero just like hanging out with their weapon, doing sword forms on screen. And there's a scene where Dave's doing that with an axe, which it's cheesy, but it's kind of works for the character. I enjoyed it, but
It works so great for the character. And of course, David Harbour is one of the few people who's got to swing around and make that pose with a Conan axe, or sword. So, because he did it in Stranger Things.
favorite or least favorite holiday movie or comic?
Is it me?
Who are you aiming that for?
I am sorry. I said Chuck, but I said it very softly. So yes, Mr. Rice, Chuck Rice.
I'm gonna go with the biggest cheese factor. I'm gonna say Batman Returns.
Oh, that's a holiday.
Because you know what?
It takes place during Christmas.
It's during Christmas, and anyone who wants to tell me that movie is bad, yes, but also fight me because I love that movie.
I mean, we have to define what a holiday movie is, right? When people get into the argument about what's a holiday movie about Die Hard, I tell them, okay, define a holiday movie for me to you, and then we can decide if Die Hard is one, which obviously it is. But if someone has some other definition, like there must be a supernatural force going on that involves Santa Claus or whatever, then it wouldn't be. But it actually, you can take Die Hard and describe it as if it was a Hallmark movie, right?
Yes.
The family is separated. They're getting back together for the holidays. They just want to get through this corporate party, and shenanigans ensue.
But
yeah.
Batman Returns, there are robot penguins that come out of presents. So, you know.
Are they robots? I thought they were just penguins.
No, they're just penguins.
Rocket packs.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would like it better if they were robotic penguins, but
I thought they were, I thought they were robots. I thought they were supposed to be toys.
They're supposed to be regular penguins who have rocket
Okay.
packs.
If anyone is watching now, chime in. Tell us whether or not you think the penguins in the Batman Christmas movie are robots or just evil, flightless waterfowl.
I'm sure they were probably like animatronics or something, but they were
Maybe
supposed.
that's why
they
I
were
thought they were
supposed
supposed to be robots.
They were supposed to be penguins.
Penguin
Okay.
Commandos. What does it say?
mind-controlled suicide bombers used by the Penguin.
There we go.
They are typically depicted
Mind
as
control.
living
So
penguins.
they're not evil. They're conscripted against their will.
Just because they were mind controlled doesn't mean they aren't also evil.
Okay.
If you see what I've highlighted, they are typically depicted as living penguins, but they sometimes appear as robots.
And look, if you know anything about penguins in the wild, they're definitely evil. So, you know.
Even the ones with happy feet are actually, in fact, evil. Jacob, what about you?
I've been having trouble narrowing this down. Violent Night is absolutely up there in for number one, but
Yeah, but I took it. So.
yeah, but if I have to choose a number two, there's so many good ones and so many films that I used to love and have come to hate because of one factor or another. But I'm probably gonna have to say, for the comedy aspect of it, after Violent Night, I'm going to go for Santa's Sleigh. For those of you who are not familiar with Santa's Sleigh, this is a 2005 horror comedy starring Bill Goldberg, the professional wrestler, as Santa Claus. Back in ancient times, he signed a deal with an angel because he was actually a demon who during the holidays would go on a slaying rampage. The angel made a deal with him, playing a game in the traditional sense. Santa lost the game and so had to spend like 1,000 years being good and distributing presents and to good people. That 1,000 years is now up, and Santa is returning to his old ways. And this film is one of those epic cast movies of everyone who is one of Santa's victims is either someone whose career is up and coming at the time of 2005 or kind of on the outs of 2005. So you see a lot of famous people one way or the other.
So the Sharknado plan.
Yes.
So Dave Thomas, Rebecca Grayhart, Chris Kattan, Fran Drescher.
Mm-hmm.
God, okay,
That is the opening scene cast.
So you see a lot of people, a lot of them you see for 2 minutes.
Does he kill Fran Drescher in this movie?
Yes.
Okay.
In horrifically comedic ways with one-liners.
Yeah, Dr. Detroit would not approve.
No, not at all. But yeah, there was a lot of holiday movies I used to enjoy. Love Actually. I really used to enjoy that film until I started realizing how toxic most of the relationships were. I used to really enjoy Santa Claus the movie from 1985, and then I grew up and started realizing I really can't stand Dudley Moore. Yeah, there's a bunch of really good, fun holiday movies out there that are just interesting as well, because some that you might not think of, just because you're so busy paying attention to the other stuff, you don't realize it's Christmas. Like Gremlins. Gremlins is a Christmas movie.
Gremlins 2 is a President's Day movie, so
yeah,
that's a holiday.
Yeah. Reindeer Games, Ben Affleck. It's a really good heist film. It's a Christmas movie.
So there's a movie I want to mention that for years and years and years, because we didn't have the internet, when I would tell people about it, they would tell me it was a fever dream and I made it up. And that is Rudolph's Shiny New Year. Rudolph's Shiny New Year is the Avengers version of all of those stop-motion holiday films. Frosty the Snowman, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. All of them come together in a mixed hero super saga in Rudolph's Shiny New Year that blends together the mythology of all those films. And it's easy to find now, but for a long time, people were like, no, there was never a movie that had Big Ben the Time Whale. Yes, there was. Absolutely. Eon the Evil Vulture. Absolutely. Steals baby time, and Father Time needs help getting him back, and Santa pitches in. It's a great holiday mythology movie. Yep, that's it right there.
It's hard to communicate with people who weren't there how big Ralph Bakshi was for a minute in the 70s.
Yeah, it's super hard. I mean, you had these, and you had Wizards, and you had Lord of the Rings. Mm-hmm. There was a time where it looked like Bakshi was going to take over the speculative fiction universe.
Yeah, no, I remember this one. I remember the time well, and yeah, it's in the days before home video.
Yeah,
where you saw it on TV and you didn't ever see it again
until the next Christmas.
No, this one got played like twice, and then they didn't replay it because it wasn't a classic. So since they were doing reruns and they were putting less and less time into specials, this got played less and less often. It wasn't out every year, or if it was at 2:00 in the morning on channel 91.
So it didn't get the Christmas Story treatment.
Right.
It's had kind of a weird cast too. Frank Gorshin was in it. Red Skelton.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's kind of interesting.
I heartily recommend it for anyone that has any nostalgia for those specials or interest in gaining nostalgia for it. But I also think it's a useful, gameable movie because it takes disparate elements and weaves them together into one overarching story. It's almost like all the characters were lower level before, and then we need, the world-shattering Avengers level plot that they all get socketed into.
I need to apologize. This wasn't Ralph Bakshi. This was Rankin Bass.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Yeah,
It was.
he wasn't involved with this. So yeah, my mistake on that one. So, I wanted to talk about superhero Xmas comics because there have been a lot of them, but I'm having trouble thinking of specific stories right now as I try to. Check your comic book guy. You remember any specific Halloween or Christmas or Thanksgiving stories? I mean, there's always the JLA, JSA get together for a big meal, but that's usually a splash page in a comic before the regular plot happens, right?
I mean, She-Hulk once solved a case with Kris Kringle, who was doing detective work because it wasn't Christmas.
Well, yeah.
I can think of a few.
All right, well, enlighten us.
There's X-Men Kitty Pryde's first Christmas
Yes.
at Xavier's mansion.
The Jew Home Alone for Christmas. That's the one I was trying to think of.
Which is basically the plot of
It's Alien. Yeah.
Where she's being chased around by a demon that looks very much like the alien, and she ends up luring it into the hangar and cooking it with the Blackbird's engines.
Yeah.
There's an issue of Spider-Man that this is just incidental. I don't remember the specific issue, where it happens to be Christmas time. He is chasing just some mugger who is dressed as Santa Claus, and the mugger has managed to steal a whole bunch of things because he's been able to get close to people dressed as Santa Claus. But Spider-Man is chasing him. The mugger gets around a corner, and you hear a voice from around the corner say, "I am not amused." And you see a big red colored sleeve with a fur trim and a black galosh punch out the fleeing mugger. And Spider-Man arrives, is like, "What happened?" and you see in the sky the sleigh with the reindeer, and that, I believe, was the first confirmation of Santa Claus existing in the Marvel universe.
That is cool. I can't think of one off the top. I hate to say that.
Hellboy fought Krampus once, didn't he? I really think Hellboy fought Krampus once in the comics.
If he has, that is not an issue I have read.
I mean, it seems like he would, right?
Hellboy, Krampus knocked. Yeah, he did. It's 2017.
Yep.
I enjoyed that very much. And for that matter, speaking of Krampus, I am a big fan of the 2015 Krampus holiday movie.
That is a good film.
I mean, it's a holiday movie, but it's also a pretty good supernatural horror trapping movie, which is creepy, but it's not gross horror. And pardon me, folks, that my dinner was late and arrived while we're filming. So,
Mike,
yes.
here's the cover for the X-Men Christmas issue. You should post that because it's a great cover.
Oh,
I shared it in the chat.
Okay, pulling it up. Oh, comiccon.com. I haven't been there in a while. Oh, yeah, you guys are right. That is the alien. All right, hang on.
The Brood, it's kind of a small wonder that Marvel never got sued over the Brood.
Yeah, I have to agree
this
with that.
This wasn't even a Brood.
They're
this is a Brood. It's the first appearance of the Brood. No, not the first, but it's a Brood.
In the thing that's chasing her around is a Nagari demon.
All right, I am
sure. X-Men 143.
Yeah.
Scott Summers fights one of these things.
Okay.
In an earlier issue in the series.
There you go.
Jacob gets the no prize.
It's it's all the research I've had to do
That's the Brood.
for superpowered legends.
Like they went into space, and the Brood are implanting eggs in them, and
Yep, that
they're
happens
an
later.
X-Men villain.
That happens
Okay.
much later. The Brood show up about 3 years after this. 3 years after this issue comes out.
The next year, the Brood are March 82.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Dave Cockrum came back, and suddenly the comic went back into space. And Dave Cockrum was like, "F you, they're going into space," because that's what I do.
But while there's obviously some inspiration from aliens, they really are different in a lot of dramatic ways, right? They don't have the second mouth.
They have language. Yeah. Look, they did the work to not get sued, but it's still really effing close.
No, yeah. No, it's very apparent of what they're supposed to be.
This is kind of a fun moment. I have never seen this before, but Batman and Superman are exchanging presents, and Superman gives him the mask of Zorro and says, "It seems like it's your kind of thing, huh?"
Oh, no, Clark.
That's heartbreaking.
Clark would have done his research.
How would he know?
Yeah.
He's a journalist.
Yeah, sure.
He knows who Bruce is.
But do you think he's ever going to read the story of the night Bruce's parents died?
Well, even if he did, do you think the story went on and on about what movie they were seeing when they're spilling ink over the fact that a billionaire was killed in Crime Alley and what was he doing there and he's got an orphan son?
By the way, avoid anything called Crime Alley. That's safety tip number 1 from your Uncle Chuck. Just anything called Crime Alley, don't go there.
You might get a good deal on that studio apartment, but just bypass it. It's
Hell's Kitchen, same thing, same deal. Don't go there.
Actually, Hell's Kitchen is apparently, a great place to hang out nowadays.
They cleaned it up. They don't like it called Hell's Kitchen anymore either. It's Clinton now.
It's called Hex Pantry.
I remember from reading a graphic novel of Batman in the 70s of Batman going out on the holidays and caroling. And this was set proper 70s Batman when they were starting to take it seriously again. This is the same era that brought us Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah, but that doesn't happen overnight. Apparently.
Well, the point is, Batman used to be a character who would try to inspire people along with the other heroes that he was with at the time.
Well, I mean, there are certainly incarnations of that character. The Adam West Batman, I can see him caroling. The Brave and the Bold cartoon, I can see that guy caroling. And apparently, I was unaware of this. There's a Batman Santa Claus crossover where they both fight Krampus together. So,
because of course there is.
Right, it's Batman. Yeah, he's in everything. He's like Wolverine.
That's awesome.
I wonder if there's been a Wolverine Santa Claus.
I could also, going caroling. Bruce Wayne could easily take a group of orphans caroling as part of an event.
We all know Bruce Wayne could do more good for Gotham than Batman ever has.
Bruce Wayne does. The Wayne
I'm
Foundation.
not getting into that argument.
Yeah, it's come up numerous times how much money the Wayne Foundation just dumps into humanitarian projects. The reason things don't get done is because of all the other billionaires in Gotham who are working counter to him because they all happen to be on the Council of Owls.
For example. That said, there's a, I think it's one of the Bruce Wayne family comics, but I could be wrong. Batman family online webcomics, which are great if you haven't read them. But there is somewhere a comic where Batman discovers Oracle has a program that automatically flags any immigrant into Gotham whose name could be turned into a villain name.
Oh no!
So if your name is Axe Sharp, it flags you, and she keeps track of you so that you do not turn into the villain Sharp Axe. And Bruce is like, is that really necessary? And she says, it saves a lot of time way too often.
Okay, I like it.
So Santa Claus, like the Hulk, can take a shot from Wolverine's claws.
Well, here's the thing, Owen. Occasionally I feel bad about myself and think I'm a horrible adventure writer. I come up with these contrived and unlikely plots. And then I read some comics and I'm like, nah, I'm okay.
No. If you pay attention to comic books at all, sometimes we as game writers, making our superhero adventures, don't go far enough.
The Avengers are having a Christmas party. It's modern day, so Wolverine's an Avenger somehow. And they're doing what you do at parties. There's a scene literally before this where everyone was macking on Mary Jane. And they're doing it lightheartedly, Christmas party way. But anyway, Santa Claus shows up, and Santa Claus is Ultron. It's Ultron disguised as Santa Claus to infiltrate the Avengers Christmas party. Oh, if a freelancer sent me that, I'd be like, nah, no, it's okay, buddy. No. But yeah, that's what's happening here. That is cool.
See, comics are dream journals, okay? So, because that comic needs to get written. It's not writing itself. It's got to come out. And so I think there are no bad ideas if you've written enough comics.
I really can't argue with you because there have been very successful comics that have wackier plots than that. So, yeah.
The kid X-Men, the New Mutants find Romans living in South America.
Magma. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely a thing. All right, so has everyone done their favorite or least favorite holiday movie?
I've done my favorite several times. I'm trying to think if I have a least favorite.
I'm not sure about if I could classify a least favorite.
I don't have a problem with that. I will take any of the Home Alone franchise.
Santa Claus versus the Martians, probably.
Yeah.
That's
but
that's been misty. So
I gotta say, I am not a fan of like Christmas with the Cranks. I'm not a fan, and I'm. There are going to be people that hate me for this one. I'm not a fan of Will Ferrell's Elf.
Oh no, I don't like that movie.
I'm not a fan of Schwarzenegger and Jingle All the Way.
I do not like how The Grinch Stole Christmas with the modern one with
Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey. I am a diehard Chuck Jones, How the Grinch Stole Christmas supporter.
I'm not a fan of it, but I certainly don't think it falls in my least favorite category. I get that it's trying to do something different, and I don't find it terrible. Not great, but
the fact that Jim Carrey had to undergo resisting torture training to survive the makeup process tells you all you need to know about how terrible it was to be on that set.
Sure, but it also tells you how dedicated Jim Carrey was to trying to make a Christmas movie.
They could have done better. It's just like we had CGI; it existed.
But everyone was complaining about how terrible it is.
Well, Red One, I understand. This is. Have you guys seen this one yet?
I have not had a chance to see it.
God, no.
I hope to.
I want to see it. It looks like it will be entertaining and amusing, but I haven't seen it yet, no.
Okay. This is the movie where The Rock kind of, shows up to set 4 or 5 hours late. He doesn't want to bother walking to the bathroom, so he just pees in Gatorade bottles that he has handy and keeps a big stash around, and people trip over them. So
I take it you have seen it.
I've been meaning to. Lots of people I know have. I think it kind of falls in the category of the Venom movie. I've seen all three of them. I enjoyed all three of them. They're big, dumb fun. Don't stop and think about it too much because there's a lot of plot holes there. Just you're watching a music video, just let it go, enjoy the
I'm
ride.
sorry. Do
Yeah.
they have a polar bear?
Yeah.
Is a member of their team a polar bear?
I've seen the polar bear character in the trailers. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a scene where they do a big martial arts bust them up against snowmen. Snowmen assassins.
Yeah.
There's not. I'm gonna have to watch this movie at home if I ever watch it because I cannot drink that much in public. It's just.
Chuck, you need to hang out with us sometime because there are times where Owen and I and a group of our friends, we just get together to watch movies strictly for the purpose of making fun of them. Yeah, the KDA
the effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That there are some movies that just we watch them for the ridiculousness of them.
I mean, I am still working on setting up my game room, but we've got a nice, great big TV right there, and the plan is to actually get a movie screen we can pull down from the ceiling, and then we will be able to use a digital projector and sit people around and drink cola from, or perhaps something harder from the mini fridge behind me with the castle on top, and enjoy Santa Claus versus the Martians.
Well, you drink cola. I mean, it's mostly cola.
There's just a little bit of rum in there.
It's a little bit.
Rum and Coke is not a terrible drink, but I think people are sleeping on triple second Coke.
Is this God? Who's the artist on this? This looks really familiar.
That's Alan. Alan Davis Neil Adams.
I was going to say it's who it reminded me of was Hard Traveling Heroes. But I can see 70s Batman doing this.
He did most of the art of that era of the 70s.
Yeah, I remember one when he was on Batman. There was one issue where he took out 3 inner city youth camping, the way single billionaire bachelors. They were hanging out by the campfire, having s'mores and talking about Batman stories, and all the 3 kids had their own little versions, in their head what Batman looked like.
I've read that one.
Yeah. And then Bruce Wayne jumps into the bushes and comes out wearing a real Batman costume. And they're like, that's so corny. I was like, why are you changing clothes around us? That's odd. But yeah.
I mean, in a universe where the best way to help a newly orphaned acrobat get over his loss is to put him in green boy shorts and pixie shoes, obviously people have a different set of norms of how they expect adults and children to act together.
That is a fair point, sir. That's a fair point.
He was in the circus. He was used to it already.
Well, yeah, but I mean, look at all the teen heroes, right?
Yeah.
At least the New Mutants are at school when they're not in Asgard.
Well, I mean, fairness, most of the X-Men are in some kind of academic institution in one capacity or another, right? At different times. I mean,
not anymore with all the current plots going on.
I mean, depending on what era you're reading, Wolverine is either a very short killing machine or a professor who's teaching young children,
or both. Again, depending on which era that you're in.
Hey, I'm going to do a hard left turn into gaming. Does anyone object?
No, not at all.
Never.
We should talk about how we can implement these things into games.
Gingerbread Kaiju, go.
Gingerbread Kaiju is the edible miniatures board game war game. You play a kaiju made out of gingerbread. We have a gingerbread recipe in the book. We play test ate it. You attack each other, and if you successfully damage your foe, you eat part of them. There are also rules for, maser tanks and UFOs and ground troops, which tend to be represented by things like Oreos. There you go. And cookies and M&Ms, and you chow down as you eat your way through the city. Now, we have had people write in and ask if they can substitute, carrots and little sandwiches, and sure, do whatever works for you and your family. I am not here to tell you that you are eating your board game wrong. But our core original plan is, in fact, to take your gingerbread monster and stomp your way through a militarized candy land that you literally consume. And if you want to find it, Mike, there is a video of me on YouTube eating a gingerbread kaiju cookie from, a decade ago. So, or other people can look it up.
I think it's right here.
Yeah, there we go. That's it.
Who is that young man?
I have no idea. Someone who isn't disillusioned yet. And as you can see, kind of still has hair and color in his beard. Yeah, there's King Kong. My wife made those playing pieces. Here's a simulation of a fight. Gingerbread kaiju.
Actual gameplay. We're witnessing actual gameplay.
I appreciate the marketing genius behind this.
I mean, Sean Reynolds asked me if I had made a video for Gingerbread Kaiju, and I was like, well, Sean K. Reynolds has been in this industry longer than I have, so yeah, I'm going to make a video for Gingerbread Kaiju. Besides, we had the Gingerbread Kaiju because we did, in fact, test out that recipe.
Well, I don't want to throw any rocks at all because this is an Electrum bestseller on Drive-Thru-RPG. And I think there's less than 100 books that can say that, so maybe more, but it's hard to get there. So it's obviously
definitely more than 100 that are that level or higher. But yeah, it is the very first Rogue Genius Games release. Buddy Stan designed it. I developed. My wife baked.
Mm-hmm.
I played it the first year it came out. I went so far not only to make the gingerbread kaiju monsters, but I also took graham crackers and made buildings to make the city.
Yep. And I am partway through writing a sequel, The Mines of Smordor.
Oh, wonderful! Yes,
that's a good idea.
We have come close to having we had one print run of Gingerbread Kaiju that was in a bento game box, which was a surprise box program that existed for a while. And we got a bunch of reviews from that. And we've been so close to having a box set with Gingerbread Kaiju cookie cutters like 3 times. And we keep walking right up to the line, and then the manufacturers are like, nah, I don't know. It's going to be really expensive if we can't sell 10,000 of them.
tinyurl.com/gingerbread kaiju, ladies and gentlemen, if you like, check those out for yourself. Jacob, you and I did a book that had some nods to various holidays without being as festive as Gingerbread Kaiju.
Indeed.
The Universal Monsters Omnibus. And because we're clever, folks, Universal is spelled Y-O-U-N-I. Versal. Because we're clever.
Well, that was a setting developed by a good friend of the show, Jason Todro, aka Dr. Comics.
Celebrity game designer, now working at Hasbro.
Now he's big and important.
Yeah, we knew him when.
We knew him when. Chuck and I gave him his first job in this business, believe it or not.
But Mike tasked me to write this, a bunch of these during holiday season several years ago, and when I wanted to do a whole bunch of monsters, and when I ran out of more traditional horror themed monsters, I started delving into some holiday creatures. So I included the Abominable Snowman and Jack Frost and Krampus, and so these were added to the collection, and they They have adventure ideas inside to how to integrate them into the game. Unlike the monsters that I built for, say, the superpowered bestiary, which is more a translation of these are monsters how I converted them from D&D, so they're on kind of a scale where they're threats to people and sometimes they're a threat to superheroes. These builds are specifically designed to be supervillains. So they are fairly high power level in regard to who can face them. So they're designed to take on power level 8 to 10. So sort of the standard range of heroes for the setting.
Kind of your 4-color heroes.
I gotta say, I always thought your Krampus was pretty creepy here as art.
I am really happy with that Krampus because I looked at a lot of Krampus art, and it's usually just a humanoid fuzzy guy with horns and claws. But I wanted to get those goat aspects in there that are usually integral to how he's described in the mythology. And I wanted to have the chains that he binds children with. I wanted to have the sack that he stuffs kids into to take home, the bells that clamor and announce his coming, the burning reeds that he whips bad children with. I wanted to have all the traditional mythological aspects of it in here, and I added the Santa coat for creepiness factor because he's the anti-Santa, the bad Santa.
Yeah, no, it's a great.
Yeah,
I'm
just going to shoot the link out real fast before I forget to. At tinyurl.com/universal. You can check this book out. We've got it for Masters, Masterminds, and Savage Worlds because we do that. Oh, there's lots of these private chats you guys have been popping in that I just now saw them. Okay.
So
I love Winter Ravagers.
So the bottom trap, that's Winter Ravagers. That's a Pathfinder First Edition monster book that has it's got a Krampus, it's got the Whip Father, it's got
flying reindeer,
dire flying reindeer.
Yes. Yeah.
So that is a product if you're a Pathfinder First Edition fan that we have a lot. It's got the cringe, which is basically what if Grendel was actually the Grinch.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's got snow elves who are basically Christmas elves.
And it has cobbler elves who, come into your shop at night and make shoes for you.
Mm-hmm.
And a bunch of those other links are things I have done on my blog, owenkcstevens.com, which is supported with my Patreon. I did a green bean casserole monster for the holidays with art by Stan.
That is pretty cool.
The gelatinous cylinder, which happens to look like cranberry out of a cranberry mold can.
I'm trying to think you were like the perfect guy for this podcast tonight, sir.
Well, you asked if I was interested. I did holiday-themed constructs. So, again, that's mostly for Pathfinder, but you can also use it for 5e. It's got the figgy pudding construct, gingerbread construct, holly construct, hot cocoa construct, and the peppermint construct.
Seriously strong.
Way back on Christmas Eve in 2018, I wrote a holiday poem, The Night Before Adventure. If you're in the mood for that kind of thing. So yeah, I have done some holiday themed stuff on my blog, and my blog is freely accessible.
It's owenkcstevens.com.
Yeah.
And your green bean casserole entry has art from Mr. Stan.
Yeah, there it is, green bean casserole monster.
Nice.
I particularly like the frizzled onion and mushroom hair.
It's a nice touch. It really is. So, well, that's pretty cool.
The Gelatinous Cylinders also have stand art if you want to, but there are 3 entries on that.
I thought I shared that one. Let me get that back up here. Oh, there it is. I just didn't share it. Hey, where you guys live? Is anyone doing the Christmas haunted house yet?
No.
Maybe it's just a thing in Denver. Hang on, I'll share a link in a second. But yeah, this is all right. It's like a gelatinous cube, but a gelatinous cylinder that looks like the old canned cranberries.
Yeah, there are 3 entries, and one of them has stand art.
Okay. All right. Oh, all right. Here's 2. Yeah.
There you go.
There they are, adjusting people.
Wow. Once again, onkcstevens.com. So that is pretty cool. But yeah, that's Denver is a big town for the haunted house. And let me find it. Okay, yeah, 13th floor. Krampus theme haunted house. Christmas. Yeah.
There is probably one other adventure that I really want to point out. I did because I did all the art for it, and I honestly believe it's a great adventure.
What's that?
I've put a link in here for you. It is called Yuletide Terror.
Published by Rogue Genius Games.
Mm-hmm. Published by Rogue Genius Games. This was written by Alex Agunas under his Everybody Games imprint, and it is a holiday-themed adventure where you as heroes in a fantasy world are tasked to stay over for the evening because you have nowhere else to stay with a nice family that takes you in, and unfortunately their young child summons Krampus.
Oh.
And it starts with an encounter where you have to fight this fully powered like CR-20 Krampus, and you all get your characters get turned into children, and then have to go into a holiday world that has been corrupted by Krampus because he has somehow taken over from the powers that be. And it's got a lot of wonderful references in there. You fight rat people and Nutcracker Knights. It's got a lot of really great holiday references.
Joe Pesci?
I'm not sure Joe Pesci's in there. But you can do whatever voice you want for Krampus. You want to make it Pesci?
You do a Joe Pesci as Krampus? That'd be kind of fun.
I do not think I can pull off a Joe Pesci.
Okay. Oh,
What am I? Am I sort of monster to you? Am I a Krampus to you? Is that what I am? Is that what you're saying? Do I Krampus your style? Is that the problem?
I'll accept it. Once again, that is Yuletide Terror for Starfinder and Pathfinder from Rogue Genius Games. And that's a silver bestseller, so check it out. So, well, I think we have covered this subject pretty thoroughly. Anything else anybody want to kick in before we call it? Oh, backer kit. Looks like Owen has a backer kit. Let's check it out.
I have a backer kit. 4 years ago, I wrote a version of the Warlock, the 5e Warlock, for Starfinder and Pathfinder First Edition. I have been tinkering with them for 4 years. I am ready to release permanent versions. So this is my landing page so that people can click and be informed when I go live. Backer kit, this is my first backer kit campaign. They really want me to have more backers getting notifications than I currently have before they let me launch. So I'm hoping to launch in a week, which, means launching right after Thanksgiving, so hopefully a Black Friday launch kind of thing. So it would be great if I could actually do that. So if people are interested in my take on a Pathfinder First Edition or Starfinder Warlock, and there are a bunch of jokes online about how'd you become a science fiction warlock? Oh, I didn't read the EULA, the terms and conditions, and it turns out I agreed to give away my soul, but it does come with power to ask people about their extended warranty. So,
I mean, it's better than making a human centipede. So,
you, not a holiday film.
No.
Well, there was just a Family South Park episode where one of the boys hadn't read his terms and conditions on.
There is. You're right.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
tinyurl.com/Owens Warlock. You can hit Owens backer kit, and it looks like it'll be a lot of fun. Launching in 7 days.
Yeah,
So
go there. I'm looking forward to it. So I've clicked the sign up button. So go there, click the sign up button. If you're even remotely interested, go do it. If you're not interested, go do it.
Chuck,
It's a personal favor to me. Go do it.
Chuck, since we've hit the shameless pimping section of the podcast, is there anything you wish to pimp?
I'm still 190 something pages and counting on the my personal Vietnam. I mean, my science fiction game. It's still built among the stars. It's not dead yet. It's still growing.
One day soon. All right. Well, then I will pimp my science fiction game, for which Jacob has done an awful lot of art. tinyurl.com/starbeards. Hey kids, do you like space?
Damn it.
Damn it.
Do you like dwarves?
Do you like dwarves, Johnny? Yeah. Chuck's referring to Damn It, which is the rules light version of this that will be coming out. Actually, we're kickstarting it in like a couple days, but I don't have a landing page for that yet because it's not approved. But Starbeards, dwarves in space, rock and stone. This beautiful landing page here in Backer Kit is from our friend Storn Cook. And for those of you listening, oh my God, this is a beautiful image of a dwarf in a spacesuit doing some mining. And you should check it out and back it. We're launching sometime in March. If the writing gets and layout gets done, might be April, but it's a beautiful piece of art. Check it out. It'll be a good time.
For the rules light system, is this the same system they use for Pew Pew, or is this something different?
You know, Jacob, I've been berating myself all day. I was like, why did you write this whole new rules light system? You already have Pew Pew. People like Pew Pew. You have an audience for Pew Pew. Why don't you just write this for Pew Pew? No, it's not the same system, but it probably should have been if I was thinking as a marketer and not as. I'll tell you what it was. My kid was 10. We were playing Deep Rock Galactic, and I didn't know if he wanted to mess around with the big dice pools for Pew Pew. So this is a very rules-like game. It's very easy to play, and my 10-year-old could learn it in about 90 seconds. So yeah, that's where this came from. So
let me ask you, Mike: is this system something you'll be able to easily reskin to other settings?
Yeah, it's very light. It's ridiculously light. So yeah.
And it's worth launching your own light system to be able to do stuff like this for other things in the future.
Yeah, that's fair.
In fact, if you can do it fast enough, right, you can start looking at, okay, what's the big summer blockbuster going to be that they're advertising now? All right, so we're going to make a Buddy Kaiju light RPG, or hey, it looks like they're going to have a Secret War superhero. Just look at what's coming out over the next few summers and start working on stuff early.
Yeah, that Minecraft movie with Jack Black might be big. Maybe I should.
You totally should.
No,
Call the game Blocks.
Call it Blocks. Maybe.
If the Lego the Lego movie worked out, you could easily integrate the similar concepts here.
Well, and also the movie being big, if it's a huge disaster, that's just as much free advertising if it's a huge hit, right? Okay. One of my greatest unofficial movie tie-ins was when I did the Time Thief class for Pathfinder First Edition, and no one notices now, but that came out the same week that the Prince of Persia movie launched.
Man.
because that's a character who can rewind time in scenes based on a series of games that are much better than the movie. And it was a huge flop, which meant that people were constantly talking about how bad it was. And then I could pop in and say, want to have the same concept with a better setup? Yeah, right. Exactly.
For those who are listening, Mike is currently pointing to the banner behind him, which is a picture of the cocaine owl bear, which Mike said to me one day just in passing, "Hey, cocaine owl bear." And the next day I had art for him and he had a game ready to go. And it's been an incredible sell for us.
All I came up with was the tripping balls template, which I put on my blog so that you could have any creature be tripping balls. I didn't do a whole game out of it, so that's a win for you guys.
That's a win. It's been a journey. It's got me in Facebook jail twice this week. Facebook is very sensitive about how you use certain words in ads. So
you got to start calling it Snowman Owlbear.
Snowman Owlbear. Bolivian marching powder Owlbear.
Do you want to build a snowman?
Yeah, just Deadpool and Wolverine and write down all the euphemisms they use.
The Ukrainian version of Cocaine Owlbear just came out a couple months ago. We had this has been on so many actual plays and Russian and Ukrainian actual plays. For some reason, it's very popular with the Slavs. So yeah,
incredible. I've seen like 4 on YouTube. It is incredibly popular over there.
I just have this hope that maybe I know things are heating up in Europe and they're talking about World War III and intercontinental ballistic missiles, but maybe Cocaine Owlbear can bring us the gift of peace. It'll
bring us all together.
It'll bring us all together, like that Coke commercial in the early '80s. That's the power I think we have here. On that happy note, perhaps we should call this a podcast.
You know what? There's something there with Cocaine Polar Bear as a Coke commercial. There's that's got some legs.
Especially if you know anything about the history of Coca-Cola.
Exactly. And their polar bear commercials. There's absolutely a through line there. I give that to you for free, Mike.
Thank you, sir.
No,
I appreciate your generous gift in this holiday season.
Owlbear and turn it into Cocaine Polar Bear with a Coke.
Yay, like the 3 wise men coming to Jesus' manger with gold, frankincense, and myrrh. You come to my podcast and give me the gift of Cocaine Polar Bear.
But in this case, it'll be blow, frankincense, and myrrh.
Coca-Cola, cocaine, and mistletoe.
Hey,
a green herb that's definitely mistletoe.
What are the padded with? Oh, there's a bunch of grass.
Yeah, our friend of the podcast, Dan Taylor. What are you saying, Jacob? What's going on? You look very excited.
A holiday movie that I should probably mention that recently came out that is dear to my heart. Besides Violent Night.
Let's hear it.
Journey to Bethlehem. It is a musical starring Antonio Banderas as King Herod. I want to preface this that I both love and hate this movie. Every scene with Mary and Joseph is boring as fuck. Every scene that has a king in it, whether it is the 3 wise men who are kings or Antonio Banderas, is spectacularly amazing. Watch this movie for the kings. Ignore the stupid romance plot.
Have your fast
but technically, this is a Christmas movie.
Well, I mean, it's not all that many people that can say God is their baby daddy. So,
just if you want to have fun, just go to YouTube and type Antonio Banderas, "It's Good to Be King."
Okay.
And listen to that song.
This is a musical.
This is a musical.
Okay, all right. Jacob, you're a former member of the Church of Latter-day Saints, correct?
Uh-huh.
I know there's a whole little cottage movie industry just in Utah.
Mm-hmm.
Do they do Mormon-only Christmas movies?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I wouldn't say that they're Mormon only. They're LDS focused. It's not like other people are forbidden to watch them. It's not like going into the temple.
I mean, does Joseph Smith show up like as a Jedi ghost and tell people where to find the silver tablets? And
It's nothing. It's
I'm
nothing
guessing
like
no.
that. But they try for a wholesome, family friendly vibe with their films. Then sometimes they get amazing stars in it. There's one I forget when it was made. It was either the late 70s or 80s that it starred Jimmy Stewart, for crying out loud.
I could see that.
I don't remember the name of it, but I remember it was one of those LDS films, and it's like Jimmy Stewart's in this.
90-year-old Jimmy Stewart's in this?
Yeah, he was very, very old.
That's interesting. We were talking about time loop movies last week. I gotta tell you, I think that time travel would be the most interesting subject for like religion or politics. I've always thought if you get one of the founders of a religion shows up and sees how they're doing it these days, he's like, "What are you guys doing? You don't all have 7 wives?" Or or if we get one of the founding fathers to introduce to American politics today, or there's a great untapped potential for comedy there. In the Short Pack webcomic, it's a webcomic set in a toy store, and they were down a employee, and the manager has unexplained super science powers, so he goes back and gets historical Jesus to work in the stockroom, and historical Jesus doesn't really understand modern day stuff. If you're trying to flip over tables, it just doesn't work out that well for him. And it's it was fun. That's all I'm saying. Sorry, it's a long ramble. Forgive me. I didn't sleep much this last night. So, I don't know. Hey, Michael Mendoza showed up.
Well,
Hey, Mike.
Close up the podcast.
Yeah, you guys were talking to Mike about doing Iconic Legends, getting them put back up, right?
Yep.
Okay. Cool.
We just need to send him a contract.
We had a conversation. It started. I think we still need to go to contract, but
okay.
But we have to go to contract before we publish. It's Jacob's welcome to work with him to get things moving. But that is in fact still a plan.
All right. Cool. Well, hey, sorry for my rather long tangent there about time travel religious movies. Oh, hey, Mike says just in time for my after work commute. Well, it's always good to see you, sir. We should have you as a guest sometime. But closing thoughts, Chuck. Nothing. All right, Jacob. Closing thoughts.
If you enjoy this content, please help support the channel by going to the BAMF podcast Patreon. Give us $1 a month. It's all we ask.
Well, I would ask you for a lot more than $1, but if $1 I can,
A lot of people are suffering financial hardship, especially with what's going on today with I'm not even going to call it inflation. It is just flat out corporate greed, and it's only going to get worse. So if you happen to have $1, it helps.
Because I owe Jacob a lot of money for art, so I could appreciate anything you want to send my way.
I could give you the number right now, and you would cry.
No, it's okay. I've been exercising, getting my getting my outfits ready to go out and start, working the street corners, doing whatever I can to make that art budget for Starbeards. So it'll be okay, Jacob. Don't worry. Owen, closing thoughts, sir.
So one of my favorite things to do whenever I am trying to come up with a idea for a role-playing game that I'm running, or even sometimes I'm writing, Jacob, don't do that, is to watch bad movies. Because bad movies often spark my brain into not thinking I could turn that thing into a gaming idea. I do that sometimes. We all do. We were just talking about The Brood earlier. But with a bad movie, my brain at least goes, this is a much better way that could have been done. So I have a more original idea. And there are a lot of bad holiday movies out there. And we went over a whole bunch of things we could do. So back in What's New with Phil and Dixie, Dragon Magazine, there was a joke about using Black Beauty as the inspiration for a throat-ripping horse monster. But if you put a horse monster in a game and it rips out someone's throat, that will generally surprise them. So I think there's a lot that you can do to mine these things, especially when you do something like look at the movie Krampus and go, okay, there are a lot of cool ideas there, but I could put that in a Call of Cthulhu game, or I could put that in a The Strange game, right? There are a lot of different things you can do with these ideas, and if you want to, you can lift the holiday elements out of it entirely. Or you can do what I did one year and on Christmas Eve run a game for my friends where they were playing the children of their characters because Santa Claus had been kidnapped and only children could see him, so they were the only people that could rescue him.
That is kind of cool. So, who's making the Star Wars noises?
Jacob?
That's my phone.
Okay, all right. Well, hey, folks, thanks for tuning into the BAMF podcast. Owen, Chuck, Jacob, it is always a pleasure, guys. Thank you for coming out. All of our listeners and viewers, and especially Michael Mendoza, thanks for checking in. And we will see you all next time, if not this year, definitely next year on the BAMF podcast. Take care.